Heading out of winter now, heading into spring. I'm just going to run you through my thought process on how I go about my F1 fishing. So all I'm going to do to start off is 5 and 3 foot are two really good depths to target this time of year for F1s. Temperatures are increasing, the water temperature's increasing as well, so the fish should start to get a little bit more active now and start creeping up the slopes a little bit. So I'm going to start in 2.5 foot, just tapping in some micros and expanders across. I'm going to prep an edge line just down to my left, again in 2.5 foot with some ground bait and maggots. I've also got the option of being able to come a little bit into shallower water if the fishing does get really good. And also I'm going to prep a maggot line just in the middle of the bowl area here for up and down with maggots. Like I said, weather's increasing a little bit now, so got the potential of maybe catching 1 or 2 fish shallow. So we're going to kick off across on micros and expanders. So I'm just going to run you through what pot I start with. This is like a sprinkle lid, because what I want to do is obviously get my micros and create like a little bit of noise. If you're going to see the pot there, just that attraction of just tapping a few on the water just to make a little bit of noise. But what might happen then, obviously after a little while, this can tend to bring the fish up in the water a little bit, so it might be a case of just changing the pot over and just changing the feeding process. So just put the micros in the pot, thumb them down, and then they just go down in a clump. But we'll run you through that as the day goes on. So we've just got a few micros in the pot there. Just going to use a formal expander. Rigs are really simple. We've got 016 AccuPower mainline to a 4x12 F1 maggot float, 1.5mm tip. Got 2 number 8 back shot because it is a bit of a wind on you. And then I've just got a strung bulk of 9s and a couple of 10s, just roughly about an inch increments, just above a 4-inch hook length of 010 and a 16 SFLB. Generally I use 18s, but when we're fishing with pellets, so there we go, just reined a couple of them in. So literally just lift the float out, drop him in. It's just that, we just want that float right down to a pimple. So yeah, when we're fishing with pellets, we can actually get away with a 16, because you can sort of bury the hook inside the expander and it loses the show of the hook. So really important that obviously the float tip is right down to a pimple there. So pellets is usually a really good way of starting, because you generally get a real quick reaction with pellets. Whereas when you fish with maggots, it's sort of like a building your lines up. So I think we had a little indication there then. Wind's gone real tricky on us here now. So yeah, as I said, that was definitely an indication then. Just little lifts, because we don't want to strike that expander off. Plus we don't want to lose too much time out the water as well. Just want to get straight back in fishing. And the nice thing with feeding in this way, you're never really going to blow your peg. It's always quite, how can I say, a safe bet. There we are. There's one. Oh, just bumped him. So what I'm going to do is just come back and rebait. Elastic choice today is a 9 hollow. You might think it's really light, to be honest with you, but I'm not really sure how active the fish are at the moment, in the sense of like we're still still like sort of in winter mode, if I felt that I was a little bit undergunned, I may step it up to something like a 10 hollow perhaps. Nothing too drastic, but I do feel like that'll be like a real nice elastic, especially when you're fishing in shallow water. You want to try and get away with like a light elastic, because you don't want to be like striking and your fish crashing all over the surface, disrupting any other fish that are in your swim. There we are. Smallest indications. See how the elastic works really nice, just like just guides out of the peg really nice. There's no fish crashing all over the surface. And literally just do its job. It's all balanced. I mean, you're only fishing an 010 hook length. Roller placement is really important as well. That's only a little stockfish, but that's typical pellet fish. There we are. I'd say we got a 10 out of 10 hook placement there, right in the top lip. So it's a nice fish to start. Let's drop him in the net. And it's just a case of repeating the process then. Just going to rein a couple of them micros in. Just line up with my marker. Same with across as well. Pick yourself a nice little marker, because the bank is not uniform. Obviously I'm using my joint on my hand, and then just lining up with a far bank marker, an inch to the left or the right. You could be like an inch over depth or an inch off bottom, so it's really important. Just really spend some time giving you you swim a good plumb around, because it's not uniform at all. There we are, there's another one. See how that fish comes straight to the top of the surface then? You don't really want that. If you had a real aggressive elastic on, that'd be splashing all over the surface and you risk a hook pull then. So even though I'm using a short kit, I still like to break down on my short free. Better fish, this one. There we are. So again, I'm always looking where that hook placement is, and it's put up perfectly. Well, I'm not going to say perfect, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 this one, but still top lip. Another nice fish. So while the rig's out of the water a second, I'll just run you through my rig. So this, as I said, this is my pellet rig for a cross. Got a 9 hollow elastic, 016 AccuPower mainline, 2 number 8 Stotts as back shot. I got a 4x12 F1 Maggot, so that's a carbon body, 1.5mm hollow bristle, and then obviously running down to the business end. Just got to start this move there. I've just got obviously a spread bulk. Can you pick that out there? We've just got a spread bulk, a few number 9s, roughly like an inch apart, and then I've got 2 number 10s here. The reason I put 2 number 10s is because I'm like, I want to try and get away from setting loads of rigs up. So if I felt that pellets weren't working and I could use something like ground bait and maggots, I've got the option then of being able to put the number 9 Stotts together in a bulk and say use 2 number 10 droppers, or if the fishing was really good, I could use a bulk and say like 1 dropper. But that's the beauty with using Stotts. You can move your shot around and you don't risk damaging the line. I got a 4-inch hook length then of 010 AccuPower down to a 16 SFLB. So I'm going to keep an eye on that edge line as well, because I do feel like if I'm able to catch across in 2.5 foot, then it gives me a good like insight in that you might catch in 2.5 foot in the edge. Maybe not straight away, because obviously we've got a bankside disturbance, but it gives you a good indication of what depth they want to be in. And that's the beauty with F1s, they'll tell you pretty much straight away what depth they want to be in. Like, if I felt that I wasn't getting any indications in 2.5 foot, I'd probably look to go perhaps a little bit deeper. And then on the other hand, if I was getting loads of indications, perhaps foul hookers, then I'd look to like just go into some shallower water then. It's so important to just keep that float right down to a pimple, because these bites are absolutely minuscule. I know it is really difficult to see the float. I struggle at times, but try and put things in your favour. Like, try and fish in like some dark water, or if you've got white water in front of you, just black your tip out. Like, I'm lucky here now, I've got a nice bit of dark water, that pimple shows up really nice. There we are, another little indication. The bites are absolutely tiny. It just goes to show how effective pellets are. You get instant response. Ooh, feels like a better fish, that one. Just take your time, there's no mental rush. Let the elastic do the job. We must be really good people, because I think this is the first time this year we're actually seeing some sun. There we are. Another nice pellet fish. Just in the side of the jaws, that one, but that's okay. So what you can find with your pellet lines as well is that you can get like a little runner fish, and all of a sudden it'll stop. But what I do then is don't be too slow. You need to, like, especially this F1 fishing, you need to like react quickly. So it's a case of just whacking your plummet on again and just go and find 2.5 foot somewhere else in your peg again. So if we get no indications now over the next couple of minutes, it wouldn't bother me one bit to just sort of leave that line alone then, go and find 2.5 foot somewhere else in my peg. There's a little mark then. So even with a super light elastic, you're still getting them fish crash over the water. So that's what I mean, it's so important that you choose a really light elastic. Keep it nice and low. Nice little stockfish. Top lip, job done, sir. So I've just gone in on that second line now, probably 2 minutes later after battling the North Sea. And again, we're straight back into another fish. But I think this will probably be our last fish across now, because the the wind is absolutely destroying us at the moment, and I don't want to break my lovely pole. But what it will give us an opportunity to do is have a little look in the edge, and we'll start priming that maggot line down the middle for fishing on the deck and perhaps shallow. But again, typical pellet fish. Nice little F1, nice little weight builders. They're your bread and butter here, to be fair. There we are. So all I'm going to do is just before I go on in now, I'm just going, obviously we kicked it off with one 125mm pot. I'm just going to get like another half a pot, probably what's 60-70mm. So just going to get that into the swim. Same process again, obviously just making sure that we cup it in towards the bank. So I got my marker on my pole, marker on the far bank. There we are. So while I got to rig out the water, I've just got a 9 Duraslip elastic. Again, 016 mainline. 2 number 8 back shot, slightly different float this time. I've got a 4x12 F1 XS. So this is exactly the same float, same shape float as a cross, but that's all we've got. Obviously is a 1.7mm hollow tip, and it's a fiberglass stem. And then obviously, like I said, 016 mainline. All I've got then, like I said, is a Balkan 1 4-inch hook length of 010 and an 18 SFLB. So I'm just going to start obviously on 010. If the fishing gets really good, I'm getting some quality fish, I'll just step it up to say like an 012 and perhaps a 16 SFLB. But I really like these SFLB hooks for this time of year when it comes to fishing with maggots, meat, expanders for carp and F1s. So all I'm going to put is 3 red maggots on, just all through the is it head end or tail end? I'm not sure. The fin end, we'll go with fin end. Obviously just a medium pot, and all I'm going to do then is just cap that in. Obviously I'm going to just start off with it like on the dry side, but I might add some water in it just to clag it up a little bit, just so it adds a little bit of weight to it as well. But I like to use it on the dry side to start, so you get that real like nice fluffy cloud effect, just to attract some fish in. So what I'm going to do is just drop that pot in the water. And the nice thing with these pots is see how it's just released straight away from the holes in the side of the pot. It'll just get rid of that bait straight away, and then we can just get fishing straight away, straight over the top of our pot, nice and accurate. I just like to use a 1.7mm tip as well, just in case we do get a few fish in the swim. Obviously I don't want to be striking at any liners, so I just want a nice clean bite. And I think that 1.7mm tip will just eradicate those line bites, so we're just hooking proper bites. But it's nice, you can dot that right down to a pimple again. There we are. Our elastic's doing its job lovely. the size of that one. Lovely fish. See how the stamp is so much better as well, maggot fish. Yeah, it's a nice one. So as I said now, all I'm going to do is, because like I'd feel like there's a few fish there now. Obviously the fluffiness of the ground bait has done its job attracting them. So what I want to do now is just add a little bit of weight now and just stodge it down to the bottom. So just get a little bit of water, not loads. So we're not going to have, obviously still going to get a cloud effect, but obviously it just gives you a lot more weight now. Get it straight down. There we are. Obviously while we're out, get maggots put onto that maggot line. It'd be absolutely great if we could get a couple of fish shallow there today. And I'm not even mentioning what rig I'd love to use because it's very controversial. So we're just going to go fixed rigs only. There's nothing nicer now, like a back end of February. Weather's on the up and we're starting to catch on the edge. Like a lot of people might think that number 9 Dura slipper is a bit soft for the edge. Don't get me wrong, if there was a lot of like debris about or reeds, like those bulrushes across there, you wouldn't be able to. But what's nice is there's no real obstruction, so you can literally just hook the fish, let it do its job and just pull it back. Nice balanced kit. Oh, lovely. Looks like a good fish now. Oh, it's pinged off. Oh no, Tommy Tango. So as I said earlier, when the sport starts getting a little bit better, all I'm going to do now is just move the bulk right down onto the 4-inch hook link. It's just more of a positive rig now. So we've basically got the bulk literally sat 4-inch hook link, so you've got sort of like 5 inches and you've just got a straight bulk now. Dead positive rig, which is something you want for the edge, do you know what I mean? Obviously at the start we had that little bit of finesse, but fingers crossed now there's a boatload there, now we can just go in and hammer them. But we don't want to neglect our other lines as well, so while we're out the water we're still going to prep our other lines as well. So sort of like 15 maggots twice. It's really important to have them back shot on as well, because like, there we are. Just keeps your rig right over the top of your feed. And that might be the importance now of just obviously the rig's now a little bit more how would I say? Oh, lovely fish that one. The rig's a little bit more positive now with that bulk right down on the hook link. Oh, I think this one's photo worthy. It's a beaut, this one. Hold that one up for the camera. A lovely queen of an F1. Let's get that maggot off him. Here. Look at that. That's the sort of sport you expect in the tunnel. Brilliant. So I'm just going to run you through my maggot rig, which is down the middle for fishing up and down. We've just had a fantastic run in the edge. It's been that good, to be honest. I've had to even set a rig up in some shallower water. But yeah, for today's run through, obviously I'm just going to show you that line down the middle of maggot. I'll just run you through my rig quickly now while we're out the water. So pretty much same kit. We've got a 9 Duraslip hybrid elastic, 016 mainline. We've got a 4x14 F1 maggot, so that's the same float as we was using across, but just slightly bigger. Carbon body, 1.5mm tip. The shotting pattern is slightly different on this one. We're fishing maggots. So I've got a spread bulk, which is about 14 inches away from the hook. You can just make that out there. About 5 inches below, I've got a number 10 shot. 5 inches below, another number 10 shot. And then a 4-inch hook length of 010 and a 16 SFLB. So on this line, I'm just going to fish double maggots. Like I said, we're going to start feeding with a pot. I am going to catch a few maggots over the top as well, with a hope to try and catch 1 or 2, perhaps deep shallow, because the weather does look really good for it, to be fair. There's been a few fish crashing around as well. Let's just hope this wind will behave now. We've just got some maggots in the pot. All I'm going to do is just line up with my mark, drop their maggots in, and then just let that rig come in on an arc. Fingers crossed we can get amongst some of them big F1s, because maggots usually sort out them good fish, to be fair. Ooh, there's a little indication there. And what I am going to do as well, just cat a few maggots over the top. Because like I said, it'd be absolutely great if you could catch a few fish deep shallow today. It's definitely a bite then. It's amazing what this bit of mild weather's done. There's fish absolutely crashing everywhere. Yeah, got the indication straight away. Small start here, nice little start. Ooh. Just clean our rig off. Any muck on the line, just make sure you get that off straight away. So double maggot straight through that pointy end. A couple of maggots in a small soft pot. Give them a little dunk, just so none of them come out when you're shipping out. So just whip him out to the side. Tap them maggots in. Just wait for that rig to come in now. Just shotting up nicely here now. There you are, as soon as that rig come in, all shotted up lovely. Fish straight away. It's a great sign, that is. It's a good fish, that is, to be fair. There we are. Perfectly hooked in the mouth. But yeah, to have that indication there, just as the rig was tuning up, and obviously looking at the hook placement, I definitely think these fish are starting to come off bottom. So what I'm going to do now, just give it one more try now. And then I'm going to just start introducing a bit of bait down with a catty, because I feel like them fish are definitely on their way up, which is a great sign, to be fair. You can sort of gauge when your bites are coming. Literally, when you're swinging your rig out on that pendulum, you can see your floaters is tuning in, as the number 10 is just taking it down. Sort of just as it's coming in, that's when your bites are registering on the float. But I do feel like we're going to definitely get a few fish shallow. It looks not super shallow, but I'll just set the rig up at like 2.5 foot deep, just see if we can get any indications. And then just go from there then. If you don't get any bites, you can always go deeper, or even drop back onto the bottom, or if it goes the other way and you're getting loads of missed bites, we can just come shallower. Oh yeah, didn't have to wait long at all for that one. Fishing's brilliant here today, to be fair. A little stocky, look. There you are. So that's actually in the bottom lip there as well, so that's a great sign to have a look. Shallow. So I'm just going to ping this rig up the bank. So as I said, I'll just run you through my shallow rig quickly now while it's out the water. Same again. The 9 Dura Slip elastic, 016 mainline, 2 number 8 back shot. This is the important bit here now. Is like a 2 foot lash, just because obviously the water clarity is obviously pretty clear still at the moment. So we just want to keep that pole tip away as much as possible. I know we can obviously use ghost kits and stuff. How much difference that makes, I don't know personally, but black or silver, white, you name it, just try and keep a lash, a decent lash, just so you can obviously keep it away from the pole to the rig itself. 2 number 8 back shot, again, that's another key component, so it keeps all this this line here tight. Obviously the only bit of slack line then is that sort of like 3 inches you've got between your float and the back shot. We got a 4x8 F1 shallow, so that's a small little hollow bristle on there, 1.5, little carbon stem, and then that's all I've got is 5 number 11s dotted down the rig. So I've got one right underneath the float, probably another one 2 inches, one maybe sort of 4 or 5 inches, 8 inches, and sort of like 10 inches away again. Then as you can see, it's sort of like a reverse taper. So we'll just see how that goes, because all I want is a real slow fall going through the water. 4 inches of 010 and an 18 SFLB. So we're just going to start at 30 inch and just see how we get on with that at the minute. If we're not getting any bites, then obviously we can drop deeper, and obviously if we're getting loads of missed indications, we can just keep pinching an inch or two off until we come in tune with the rig, in tune with the fish. But obviously the main thing with this is feeding as well, so try and get some bait into the, sorry that went a bit wayward, try and get some maggots into the swim before you actually get out there. Try and keep it as tight as possible. It is difficult in these conditions. All I'm going to do is just whip that rig over, and it's just see a real slow fall. Just want that rig spending ages through the layers. And if you haven't had a bite, then obviously once it's reached its destination, just a little lift and drop. Yeah, there we are, fish straight away. So that's a great sign. Nice stamp fish as well. There we are. Ooh. So same again, double maggot. Just hoping that wind will drop a little bit, just so we can keep that feed tight. Because I feel like there'd probably be a stack load of fish to be caught there if we can keep that feed really tight, which is obviously the important thing. But that's a really important thing as well, to feed just before you get your rig out there. Just turn that over, and you can see now how them number 11s are working. And like now, just as this reached its maximum, just give it a little lift and drop. Ooh, I feel that was a bite then straight away. There you are. Little lift and drop then, straight into him again. Nice little F1. Really do feel like we're going to catch a few shallower than this today. Just go by here, because that's gone right down his gullet. So what I'm going to do this time, seeing where that hook placement is just actually shallow up like 3 inches. And the nice thing with these top kits Obviously you've got all the inch increment markings, if you can just make it out there. So it gives you a really good reference where to go back to if you need to. So, and again, this is like a combination rig, so you can use this for various different depths. So there now at 30 inch, all I'm going to do now is literally just pinch, like nothing silly, just like 3 inches. I know it sounds mad, but you need to be super accurate with this as well. Like I know it sounds mental going from like 30 inch to say like 27, but it can honestly, that extra inch will make a massive difference. Excuse the pun. Oh, there we are. So just shallowed up now 3 inches. And we've just hooked another one now. So give us a bit of a run around. One of them crazy stockies, I think. There's some carp living. Ah, that's a big F1 that. But I think that's foul up, so it could be that they're even shallower than. Behave. Could be that they're actually shallower than 27 inch perhaps. Yes, there we are. It's a beautiful fish, that one. What a lovely fish, that one. So that's a lovely fish to end on. Just going to hold him up to the camera. Now these are the boys that'll win you a few beans. But that's perfect. Like the perfect example of just shallowing up a couple of inches just to keep in tune with them bites. I hope these tips help you and you can utilise them and put more fish in your net.